What up and welcome. We've got some new videos coming up here on the channel. Primarily you've been seeing all the golden era stuff. That's going to keep rolling. But adding a new feature, if you will, I've used a number of tools to make my 2K experience better. That includes some storytelling elements that if you follow the golden era, either on Operation Sports or on YouTube, you've seen some of those assets from websites and articles and graphics that I've used to help me feel more immersed in the 2K world, because as great as the 2K game can be, I think there's a lot missing from the game. But there's also a number of back-end tools that I've created, some that I've optimized for myself over the last handful of years that I am rolling out that I want to make available for folks. I've got a website up there right now. It's a Wix site that we're going to go through. You can download currently as we record this today in mid-June. We've got two items up there. It's a free agency selection tool, and it's also a reference doc, both of which I've used extensively to help make keep track of the universe, but also to help make free agency decisions. I think the game does a terrible job of making realistic free agency choices. So I'm going to take you through that tool here in this video, but we're going to have other videos that are walkthroughs of every single tool and resource. There's more things coming down the pipe. I look forward to rolling those out. Right now, those are the two that are available, but a lot coming. I'm really excited. If you feel so inclined, there is a donation option on the Wix site, but everything is free, available. There's no expectation of that. I do this and made all these tools and resources for my own enjoyment. But if you get any value out of it, obviously anything would be greatly appreciated, but no obligation. So with that, let's jump in. We're going to dive into the free agency selection tool on the Wix website, which is linked down below. Okay, this is the Toolkit website. Again, link up top. Put that in the video itself, so you can get to it. We will be putting all of our resources on here as we roll them out. So you can click into Explore Our Tools, or up on the top, click Explore Our Tools. Two that we've released so far is the free agency selection tool, which we'll walk through here in a second, and then the dynasty reference doc. If you click into this one, Free Agency Simulator, it'll give you a chance to open up this document. You will have to download your own. It should be a read-only file. You'll download it and you'll use it yourself. There is a script written into the back end of this that will just kind of move along with it. That's why I use Google Sheets, that's where I've written the script. So if you don't have Google, you may need to download it. I'm not going to pretend to be a tech genius and know if you download it, if it takes a script with you. But anyhow, make it yourself, make your own file. And then you can go through it. Now you can follow the instructions here. This is all built so that you do not have to listen to me talk on and on about it, and as well as some additional details on what each of the tabs means. So if you want to do it on your own, you can, but if you want to walk through it and just kind of see how everything works, feel free to do that as well. So you'll start with the ownership and team needs tab. So every single team is listed here, and then you're going to have some information for you to fill out. Let's start with the salary cap. I think the salary cap right now is right around 150. Let's just call it that. I know it's pretty much written there anyway. You'll put that in and you'll take that number all the way down. So that is going to tell you what each team has based off their total salary, their salary cap room, and subsequent luxury tax and luxury tax room. So just punch in numbers so you see it in action. It'll take, obviously, salary cap will be team salary minus, or salary cap minus team salary, spits out your salary cap room, and then, of course, luxury tax room. So you have some teams that may be a little bit ahead, a little bit below, and then this will auto-populate to change that. That's the first thing that you're going to do. Should be pretty easy if you just go onto the roster tab, and you can go into the salary cap breakdown, I think is the one there under finances in my MBA, and you'll be able to get all this information pretty easily. Next, you're going to choose the governor spending design. Now, if you're just starting in the year 2025 in your dynasty and you want to just use real life, that's fine. If you want to randomize it for your purposes because you're further down along the road, also great. You got three options. Luxury tax limit. Pretty much what it sounds like. Teams do not want to go into the luxury tax. They see the luxury tax as a hard cap. Owners cheap. Think the New Orleans Pelicans. Think the Chicago Bulls. We don't want to spend any more money. We want all the money from every other team coming to us. That's luxury tax limit. Free spending. That's your Golden State Warriors or Los Angeles Clippers. We got all the money in the world. We're not afraid of anything. if you're like doing, I don't think 2K has this first and second apron, so you can kind of get away with not having to worry about that. But free spending is the team that says luxury tax limit does not matter because we want to win every single basketball game. And then slightly into the luxury tax are your teams that aren't going to be too afraid of the luxury tax, but they might be hesitant to just go 10 million, 15, 20 million dollars deep into it. Getting a guy that, puts them above at $5 million above, 7 million, 10 million, that's probably their limit. So they're not hard capped, but they don't want to spend like crazy. So you'll do that for all of them. Again, you can go through each of these teams and choose it as you see fit, or you can go and you can stop where you say, okay, I don't think any of these teams actually want to do that. That's completely up to you. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to go through the positional needs. So you've got a key right here. So point guard is PG. Wing, I consider a wing a shooting guard through a power forward, and then a big is a power forward or a center. That kind of carry over between the power forward, that's your discretion. Like a Kristaps Porzingis is a big, he's kind of a power forward center type of guy, but Dorian Finney-Smith is a wing, even though he's technically, I think, listed as a power forward. So that's just what you're going to go through. I consider, and I'm not using 2K's roster, their base roster, I use the ATD roster because I believe in their rating system for overalls, where it's not so top heavy. Like, let's make a 90 overall really matter. No shot on Christian Brown. He's listed as like an 83 in 2K on their current roster. I'm sorry, he's not an 83. But anyway, so I consider a playoff rotation guy to be a 78 overall. Sometimes a 77, but for the most part 78. So you're going to go through each team, and you're going to just put in what their needs are. Do they have a couple wings? Could use some depth on the wing. Could they use a backup point guard, backup big, whatever it might be? And you're just going to plug that in, and then this is where their current overall is sitting at. So maybe they don't have a 78 overall wing, or they need a second. If I'm building for 32 teams, I'm trying to build two players at each position at 78 overall and above. That is my mentality for them. It's flawed, sure. It's not a perfect science. You move some of those numbers around, but that gets you to 9 to obviously 10. But if you don't have that, you're getting to like 9, 78 overalls and above. That should be your best teams in the NBA should be 78 overall. They should have at least 7 to 9 of those guys as playoff rotation dudes to be considered really good. So that's just the thought process there. That what are their needs? You could put it as a 90. They need a great wing. That's just up to you. We didn't put that in there. So you're gonna fill out all that. Takes a minute, I understand, but that's really the backbone of how this whole thing is gonna build off of. Next, you're going to go to the likelihood to leave. So the LTL, this is something that I coined a couple years ago. I don't think it's that groundbreaking of a phrase, but what it is as it's described, the likelihood a player wants to leave his destination. Now, I have always done this for stars with 1 year left on their contract. Think Paul George when he asked out of Indiana. He had a year left on his deal. I also do this for free agents that have been with their team that are now entering free agency for the first time. So let's say Kevin Durant in 2016, we would do a likelihood to leave for him. I reserve the likelihood to leave to just be for guys 85 and above. 85 to me this is definitely an all-star caliber player. He's a type of guy that if you see the tweet come out, he's worthy of a breaking news tweet that he's been traded. To me, that's 85. If you dump that down a little bit, 84, fine. I tend to keep that at 85 and above, and I honestly think 85 is the very low end. There are some times where I'm like, I don't really believe this guy's an 85, but 2K's, overall rating system gives him the 85, the way they weight everything, so I might not run them there. But that's what you're going to do. So, very simple. We're just going to go through each player. So, we're recording this early July. Kevin Durant's just been traded, but for kicks and giggles, let's pretend he hasn't. So, you're going to put in Kevin Durant. So then you're going to go through team success last season. You got a number of options. Did they miss the playoffs last season? I think they did. 2 seasons ago, they made a first-round exit, and then I think, 3 seasons ago, they made the conference semifinals, let's just say. Then we're going to say their player age. How old is he? He's older than 33. Number of All-NBA teammates, he's got 1. He's got 1 All-Star teammate. It's obviously Devin Booker. He's got no All-Defensive teammates. 1 90 overall. 0 85 to 89 overall, and let's just say there's 1 for his number of 80 to 84 overall teammates. What this is going to do, so you understand the math of it, is every player that you put in starts out with a 20 out of 20 LTL, which means there's a 20 out of 20 chance or 100% chance that he's going to leave. These results are all going to either pull that number down or push that number ahead. So missing the playoffs and a first round exit, those are going to be negatives. Winning the NBA Finals or making the NBA Finals or making the conference finals, the missed playoffs, those are going to be positives. That's going to push the number higher above 20. So if it's a 25 out of 20, he's leaving. If it's a negative, a one NBA Finals or a made NBA, there's made conference, these have some negatives to them. That's going to pull the number away from 20. The age, the younger they are, the less likely they're going to force themselves out. So that's going to be a minus number. And then once you get into this range, that 28, 29, 30 to 32 option, that number starts going 0 to positive. The more good players you got on a roster, the more negatives you're going to get. That extends for all of these. So that number you want to get as low as possible. Next up, let's just pretend Giannis wants out of Antetokounmpo. I'm sure everyone's fact checking me there. Let's say he's going to ask out. Miles Turner trade be damned. So last season, what do? Last season they made the playoffs. Year before that was a first round exit, and then year before that was a first round exit. Now his age is 30 to 32. He's got 0 All-NBA teammates, 0 All-Star teammates because everybody has left, especially now Dame. Let's pretend he's got Miles Turner on his team. Let's say Miles Turner, I don't know what his overall is off the top of my head. He feels like an 83 to me, so we'll punch those in. I'm realizing now that made playoffs is just missed first round exit. That's the same thing there. So do this for all the players in your league that are 85 and above, that are either 1 year left on their deal or actively just entered free agency. You can extend that if you want to. If you want to say, hey, let me see if Desmond Bane type of trade. You want to create one of those, perfectly fine. Giannis and Kevin Durant do not have 1 year left. So if you see a guy that's a little bit older, up to user discretion. I'm just saying that's how I use it. Once you put in everybody, you're going to come over here and just click the Calculate LTL button. It's going to run the script, and it's going to tell us it was completed. It's going to show us the score and then the result. So Kevin Durant had a 10 out of 20 chance of leaving, 50%. This then runs a random number generator, essentially rolls a 20-sided die. If it's 1 through 9 or 1 through 10, he stays. If it's an 11 through 20, he asks out. So same thing, or other way around. 50% there. For Giannis, he had a 16, so it was a 16 out of 20 chance that he's going to leave. So if it's 1 through 16, Giannis is asking out. So the reverse of what I said, I misspoke on Kevin Durant. If it's a 17 through 20, Giannis wants to stay in Milwaukee. Because it was a 16, he requests a trade. Keep those names in mind as we move over to the roster tab. But that's going to be step 2, figuring out who wants to leave, who's requesting a trade, and who isn't. We'll get to another note if you get a does not request trade for a player that is actively entered free agency. Now you're going to go to your roster. So you're going to go through and just going to fill out the age and the overall for each player. Again, this has 15 spots. Some of them are hidden. I've got it up through 8. It's got 15 roster spots. You're probably not going to need all 15 unless you're using the 2K base roster, which is fine. You can. The numbers are still going to be reflective of good teams. For every player that is young and high overall, or medium age and high overall, there are going to be point values. So you look at the Philadelphia Sixers in this example, 25-year-old 90 overall, 30, 93, so on and so forth. They have 25 points. A team down here that's got 0, Miami Heat, their 2 best players is a 77 overall 28-year-old and a 77 overall 27-year-old. It's not going to result in any points. So you're going to fill all of that out, and it's going to figure out the team points for everyone. Think about it as like ping pong balls in the lottery. The more points, the more ping pong balls. I have set this up to auto sum for an additional 4 teams, so 36 total, because in mine I've got two expansion teams. The Las Vegas Venom and the Seattle Sonics have finally come back to my NBA. So those are your rosters. It's going to fire up the team points. You're going to start with your superstars that are asking out. So we start with Kevin Durant. Now, he did not request a trade, so we leave that original team blank, and you hit select teams. Now it's going to run the script. It's going to add up all those points. It's going to take them here, and it's going to spit them over to the next tab. Now we're going to go with Giannis. Again, didn't request a trade, or does request a trade, so the original team stays blank. Script runs. It's going to select 5 teams based off our scoring. It's going to copy and paste them over. This is all just archive for you, so you know which players you've done. Now let's pretend LeBron James. he's in there because he's got 1 year left. But you rolled his and he does not request a trade. Well, we're going to have Los Angeles Lakers. So you're just going to put that original team. If on this side, let's see if we can request one and have it come up as a does not request. So in this case, let's say Kevin Durant, right? If that is the result you get, doesn't request trade, over here you're going to put that original team. So now we're going to run that with LeBron. It's going to take that. It's going to come up with the 5 teams based off the point values. And it's going to move them over to this tab. So finish all of your players, and it's going to line them up. And then when you head over here, perfectly waiting for you are the players that you've run through this. Now, the way I'm going to use this, and I have used this, is I'll do the stars first because that's the easiest one to just get those out of the way. You don't have to do it that way. And then after that, I'm going to use every single, and have used every single player in free agency. Every single one. And the logic is going to be there to figure it out. So from there, you're just going to head over to the team picks, the final decision spot, and you're just going to put in how old is a player, what's his overall, and what position does he play. And I don't know what Giannis is. Maybe he's 11, 95 wing. LeBron is like 20. Let's call him an 88 in a wing. Now, this matters for a couple reasons. Because we know what the salary cap is going to be. And we know that the salary that these guys ask for is very dependent on their overall. So let's just throw in one random guy. So let's say Naz Reid. He just signed, let's say 8 years pro. He's probably an 83 overall. He's a wing. And we're just going to take these teams. We're just going to copy and paste them down for this example. Okay, so once you put this in, you're going to go through all of your teams. So what's the signing note? What that means is how can the team sign the player? Can they sign and trade him? Do they have the cap space to sign him outright? Is it an exception, a guy that's, you're probably looking at a lower overall that's got an exception, or a team where you might have to clear space to make the deal happen? This is both user note, but there is some in-script language that's going to come out based off what you put there. But this is for you to say, okay, this is how these guys can acquire the team. Now, if it's no deal possible, you just put that, and this team, the Sacramento Kings in this case, will be removed from the selection process. So you're going to do that for all your players. Let's just do it like this. If you have a team or a player that has this original team there, you put that there for previous team, and we'll get to that in just a second on what that is going to do to the logic. So let's now go through, and you're going to run the team selection process. So we'll pick the team here for Kevin Durant. It's going to run the script. He's going to choose from one of these 5 teams. That is based off of their team score on the last tab as well as their roster construction. So that's why these matter, because it's going to pick a team based off the best team available of those 5 teams picked there. They're going to get a slight boost in being selected. And then if he's a positional fit, he's also going to get a boost to be selection. That's based off what you've selected there. So in this case, he chooses to sign with the Philadelphia 76ers. Because of his overall, he's a 90-plus overall, he's going to be guaranteed into that 35% salary because we continue to see these stars signing for 35%. It's going to tell you what that year 1 salary is, so you can put that together in 2K, and then you'll know that the 228.4% or $228 million is his total deal because it's a 4-year deal. No option on it, and it's got a 5% increase. This 5%, this can be plus 5, it can be 0%, it can be minus 5. And if a player picks his returning team, you add in the very high likelihood that he signs an 8% increasing salary. So you're going to do that for the next team. Same logic is going to run. It's going to go through all of them. And it's going to spit us out here for Giannis, a 4-year deal with the Chicago Bulls. He decides that he wants 0% increase. I'll say that the weighted logic is not to have no change show up. It's most often going to be 5% increases, but he wants a 4-year deal, $53 million, 212 total. Again, that's 35% of the max to start it off. Now, if you have done a situation like this, let's just do that for this. The Lakers, if they have done that and they don't request a trade, so you've done the likelihood to leave, you've picked the 5 teams, and you throw in that original team as the Lakers, there's a exceptionally high percentage chance that the player is going to sign with his previous team. It's not a guarantee because we know nothing's guaranteed and crazier things have happened, but it's a very, very high chance that they're going to re-sign with the team that they were previously with as they do here. So LeBron signs a 52-year one salary, 4-year deal, 8% raises, $234 million deal to stay with the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, if you were to do it over here, let's just put the Bucks in there here for this example with Naz Reid. We're just going to clean this up for you. We hit pick team. That's going to run. And that's going to spit out a signing. Again, very high likelihood in this fictional scenario. He signs with the Los Angeles Lakers. He does. 3-year deal. Now, you'll notice that percent goes down. Why? Because the percent is based off the player's overall. So a lower percent player, so let's now say he was a 77 overall. And let's just get rid of the previous team for this scenario. You're going to see that percent number is going to change. And that's all based off realistic signings that we have seen throughout the league. Some of these guys at 77 to 80 overall are signing somewhere between 7, maybe up to 15% of the salary cap. The same for guys that are in that 80 range. So this is all going to be based off of what the player's overall is that you're putting in. They're going to sign a deal that is replicating that. So let's say, well, we already did him at an 83. Let's do an 81. You're going to see that percentage is going to be probably a little bit higher, though there's a chance that it dumps down below. Again, all of this is based off real signings. It takes the logic completely out of it for you. What I would recommend doing at that point is just removing the salary cap rules, or not the salary cap rules, but the logic, the sliders. I would push those way down so that pretty much everybody's expecting no money. It takes a little bit longer for you to get up there, but you've already done the logic. You know who they're going to sign with. You know exactly what the deal is going to look like, and you know what that year one money is. And when you make everybody want to sign close to a minimum, they're going to love it when they get any type of deal, so it just makes it very easy. The last little piece is it's going to spit out tweets for you. So if you are like me and you like to present everything, it's going to tweet out language for you that you can take. This says Kevin Durant signed a 4-year, $228 million deal with the Philadelphia 76ers. To make room, they will need to clear $53 million from their salary sheet, whatever that number is to make that deal work. That is then you can go to TweetGen, which is what I use. If you have another one, that's fine. And you can pump out your tweet, whether that's Shams, whether you got Woj, whether you got whoever you want. You can have a tweet that breaks the news for it. And that's how you use it. That is the free agency selection tool. Feel free to use it. Again, all of that is over on the 2K Toolkit site. That is linked in the description for this video. Appreciate you using it. Let me know how it goes. If you run into any bugs or anything like that, feel free to hit me up. Send a note in the YouTube messages, and I'll take a look and see if we can find a way to fix it. But yeah, it's just a way to make the offseason, which should be really exciting, yet 2K has managed to make it not exciting whatsoever. We want to bring that back, bring that excitement back, and that's what this video does, and that's what this tool does. So enjoy. We'll talk to you soon.